Good morning. Welcome to Yoga with Laurie and Berkshire Yoga Dance and Fitness. Another beautiful day here in the Berkshires. How are we all doing today? So I'd like to work on a few different things today. Some of the things you'll notice that I struggle with. Hence I've got some props. I've got blocks, strap, a bolster and a blanket. So sometimes it's good to see or know that your yoga instructors also struggle. We also find poses that are challenging that we are trying to grow into ourselves. So you'll see a bit of that today. I hope you enjoy seeing me struggle. All right, let's start on our backs today. Come on down onto your back. Bend the knees for a moment. Bring the hands out to the side and simply sway the knees from side to side, just feeling the body. And think of this as a moving centering. So you're bringing your attention into what you notice. If you can, turn the head in the opposite direction. And feel the texture of the mat under the body. Notice the sounds in your environment. And then start to slow the movement down. And as you slow the movement down, slow your breathing down. Exhaling as the knees come over to one side. Inhaling as you come back to center. And then pause for a moment. Stand the feet on the mat. Become still. And I want you to follow your body today in the sense that if you're feeling you'd like a little more energy, a little more movement, a little more dynamic engagement, give yourself permission to take your practice to a higher level, a stronger level. If you're feeling the need for nurturing and nourishment, just stay within the parameters of your needs. Perhaps doing a little less or holding the poses longer, and just letting my cueing be a guideline for you to fall into what it is that you need today. Inhale, bring the right knee up, extend the left leg out. You can lift the left leg off the ground if you like. Squeeze that right knee. And then change sides. And we're going to use this little motion as a little kriya, a little breath work, a little exchange of energy. So working with your breath, as you inhale, bring both knees up, and then grab the opposite knee, extend the other knee, exhale. So just working from breath to breath, bending both knees, inhale, exhale, extending opposite leg, squeezing the knee. Inhale, exhales, changing from side to side. Giving it a good stretch. Curling the toes back towards the shins. Keeping the shoulders, the head on the ground. Drive out through the extended heel. Pull back with the opposite knee. On the next inhale, bring both knees up and rock from side to side. Extend both feet to the sky, both hands to the sky, shoulder blades grounded. And just feel that dead bug. And then rotate the right hand and the left foot. And then pause, opposite to left hand, right foot. So this is waking up the sense of body crossover here. So you get used to the idea of crossing over through the body. Pause. Now drop the left foot down to the ground, right hand down to the ground without touching the ground, just reaching out. Then inhale, bring up. Exhale, change sides, left hand, right foot. And just working that crossover with each breath, inhaling as the hand and the foot return, exhaling as they come back. Feeling that diagonal switch. Working at the rhythm of your own breath. So a little core engagement here and a little mindful thinking as you switch sides. The next time you come into dead bug, hold. And then take both arms and both feet out to the side into a big wide V. Hold. And then cross them over the midline and notice which ankle's in front, which arm's in front. We're going to alternate, switching from side to side, open wide V, inhale, exhale, crossing opposite over. Work with your breath, switching, feeling the legs, maybe a little fire here starting to build in the quadriceps. Next time you come back to dead bug, pause, bend the knees, hug the knees towards you, grab hold of the knees, cross the ankles, and create a nice circling motion with the knees about the hips. First in one direction, find a turning point, change the cross of the ankle, and reverse direction. Pause, roll over to one side into fetal pose, and then push up into all fours, orienting your body towards the top of the mat. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. I'm feeling a little rotation here, bringing the right hand up towards the sky and then exhaling, threading the needle, working with the breath. Inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you thread. Unwinding the spine this morning. And see if the head, the eyes can follow the movement of the hands, so you feel that cervical engagement, that cervical twist. The next time you come down onto your shoulder, pause and hold. And bring that left hand closer to the head So there's a little bit of option here. You can press the left hand down to support the weight into your right shoulder, your right head, or you can press that hand in and use it as a way to rotate and turn towards the ceiling, feeling the back of the skull rest towards the mat and the eyes look up and the right shoulder blade coming away from the spine. And you can pulse that movement or you can hold it static. I like to pulse and then hold static. In that holding static, invite the left arm up if you like, and you can drop that left hand into a bind behind the back. And here you can bring the left shoulder back a little more, pulsing or holding static. Exhale, release, unwind. Bring both hands underneath. Drop back into child pose. Feeling the contrast between the right shoulder and the left. Inhale, tabletop. Let's try the other side. This time lifting that left arm and then threading the needle. Synchronizing with your breath. Inhaling as you lift and open up the chest and the heart. Exhaling as you come into that thread. Noticing the range of motion grows with each iteration. Now the next time you come under, hold the thread. Left side of the head down on the mat. If you can't reach the mat with your head, you can always use a block under that left head. Right hand comes back beside the face and then pressing into the mat, pulsing or holding that static, rotating the head this time towards the ceiling, creating new stretch sensations. The next time you hold back, reach right hand to heaven, pressing down with the back of the left arm. Staying nice and stable here, you can come into your half bind, bringing that right shoulder back, statically or dynamically with pulsing flexions. Exhale, release. Hands under shoulders. Come onto your shins. Roll the shoulders back and down, palms face up. Just a little neck and head movement here, dropping the chin to the chest. Exhale. Inhale, lift, stretching the throat. A little nodding action here. Feel the neck, that precious neck. Come to neutral, dropping the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Keep the left shoulder down so you really feel traction in the left side. Inhale, neutral, exhale, opposite side. Once more. Each side. Come to neutral, dropping the chin and then rotating the chin towards the right shoulder, keeping the chin down the whole time. And then the left shoulder, feeling that arcing rotation left and right. And then if it feels right, you can create a full circle around, full revolution, one direction and then the other. Inhale, neutral, float the hands out to the side, bring right elbow under left, eagle arms. Squeeze the shoulders forward so the shoulder blades come apart. Bring the hands further away from you so you feel a little more sensation, and then let that both arms fall to the right so you feel that in that left shoulder. Drop the left ear down towards the left shoulder, and then start to gently nod the head down to the chest and back up. Releasing that tightness in the shoulders, the neck. The next time the head comes to neutral, bring it back to the center, hands to the center. Release the arms for a moment, palms face up. Feel the sensations in the shoulders, the upper body you just generated in Gomukhasana arms. And then float your wings out to the side, this time bringing the opposite elbow on top, right elbow on top. Squeeze, shoulders come forward. And then rotating both arms to the left, a few inches. Drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Traction out the left neck. Or is it the other way? Oh, it's the other way. Left ear towards the left shoulder. There you go. There, I can feel that. And then slowly drop the chin towards the chest and back up towards the ceiling, creating that little nodding flexion. Plenty of opening in the shoulders today. Exhale, release. Come to neutral, release the hands. Bring the hands underneath you into tabletop. Now curl the toes of the feet. Lift the knees. Keep the knees bent. Press back, bent knee, downward dog. Spread the weight evenly throughout the hands. Spreading the weight around the rim of the hands and the fingertip pads. Let the shoulder blades slide down and around the ribs, lengthening through the arms. Take all the kinks out of the back, and then lengthen the crown of the head towards the thumbs, and then slowly press the heels back towards the mat without changing the upper body. Press down, feeling what's right in the back of those arms, those legs. Bring the feet together. Lift the left foot up as an extension of the spine. Drive out through the left heel. Lengthen through the arms. Bend the left knee and lift that left knee up. Look under your right armpit for a moment and just feel the opening of the hips, and then extend that foot towards the sky. As high as you can, Eiffel Tower. And then swing that foot out to the left. Half aeroplane. Exhale, bend back, come down, downward dog. Right foot high to the sky, extending it through the spine. Nice straight line. Hips stay square. Push down through that left heel as you bend the right knee. Look under that left armpit towards that right foot. Open the hip. Extend right foot to the sky, Eiffel Tower. Exhale, bring that aeroplane wing, that right leg around to the shoulder, a little higher, a little further. Exhale, sweep back. Drop the knees. Come into child. In child pose, sweep the hands around behind you, grab the heels into embryo. And then come up onto the shins one more time. Clasp the hands, inhale. Exhale, reverse the palms away, clasp fingers rounding the back. Inhale, lift above the head. Exhale, release, sweep the hands around behind you, dropping the chin. Keeping the palms together. Exhale, push the palms away, open up the chest, lift the chin. Completing that circle of joy. Inhale, clasp the hands round the back. Reverse palms, press out. Inhale, lift up over the head. Exhale, release behind, rounding the back, clasping the fingers. Inhale, press knuckles, open chest. Lift chin. 2 more rounds on your own. Stay with the breath. On that last inhale, holding behind, open the shoulders, open the chest, lift the sternum. Now exhale, rolling the belly down the navel, down the legs, head to floor. Lift those arms up behind you. If you feel comfortable, you can bring the crown of the head to your mat, lifting those arms up a little higher. Yoga mudra. Pose of yoga. Exhale, slowly release, roll back up. Now as you come up, hold those arms behind you, really open up the chest. Exhale, release. Hands, palms face up. Come down onto your back. Bring the hands to the pelvis and start to tilt your pelvis forward and backwards, just rocking it with the hands. And come into a couple of bridge variations here today, Setu Bandhasana. As you rock the hips forward, inhale, backwards exhale. And then bring the hands down beside you, palms face up. Exhale, press the heels into the mat. And then inhale, lift the hips up. Keep the back of the neck safe and long. Exhale, lower down. If you can, articulating one vertebra at a time. Now you can have a block handy for this set of bridge variations if you like. I'll show you how you can use the block. Now the next time you inhale, lift into your bridge, hold your bridge. If you're looking for something more restorative today, you can always bring a block underneath the pelvis. For a little more fire here, walk the shoulders a little closer towards the heels. Clasp the hands and press the hands down, arms down, and lift the pelvis a little higher. Walk the feet a little closer together, but not touching. Keeping the left knee stable, lift the right foot up, point the toes towards the ceiling, one-legged bridge, and then curl the toes back towards the shin, press out through the right heel, press down on the instep of the left foot to keep that left knee engaged, building the strength on the inside of that left leg. Exhale, bend right, stabilize the right. Just feel Keep the back of the neck long, arms pressing down. So it's very important here to keep the weight on the shoulders, not the neck and head. Stabilize the right foot, instep of the right foot pressing in, lift the left, point the left. Exhale, curl toes, left foot back. Now lift the buttocks, keep the buttocks engaged. Keep lifting. Watch that right knee doesn't flare out. Exhale, bend, release the hands, and come on down. Grabbing the knees, rock from side to side. Now the next pose is a little more challenging. It's one that I find challenging. So I will describe it. I may not be able to do it completely, but that's okay. So once again, you have the option of a block to support you here. I'm not going to use the block, but I'll show you how to use it. Inhale, lift the hips. Now this time, walk the feet in a little closer so you really lift the hips. You can bring that block onto its tallest setting so you can see how high my hips are. Very important not to have anything under the head for this. No extra stress on the neck. Now the alternative to the block is you bend your elbows underneath you and you prop up with your hands. You see how my hands have replaced the block. Once you feel stable, held, extend the right leg out. And this is where I feel a little pinching in the buttocks. This to me creates a little stress. Curl the toes of that right foot back. Push down through the heel. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, extend left. Curl the toes of that left foot back here. I get a little crampy here, so do what you can. And then ultimately you want to walk both feet back, extend both feet, keeping the knees coming in. And again, I come into quite a bit of cramping here, so I'm going to release and come back. It might be something I could do with the block. Let me try it with the block. So with the block, I have very little difficulty with this. Just extending out both legs, curling both feet back. Exhale, release, bend, lift, and gently lower. So that's a deep back bend. Bringing the knees in, rock from side to side. So I've chosen a few poses today that are in development with myself. And once again, I think it's important you see that often in yoga classes you see my favorite yoga poses, the ones that I can do quite well. But here today I'm showing you some of the ones that I struggle with, just to prove that I'm a work in progress. Come on up. We're going to do a little camel here. Now it's important with camel, knees are hip width distance apart, feet are slightly closer in, and the goal is to keep the head, shoulders, hips, and knees in an alignment. Well, actually, that's not the goal. The goal is to keep the hips and the knees in alignment, so that means I'm going to be pressing out through the pelvis. The sternum's going to come back and up, and it's important that the neck doesn't crunch down or back, so the neck is nice and stable here. To start with, bring the right foot forward, right hand behind the head. Now, keeping that knee and hip aligned, start to arch back. Push that left hip forward and then reach the left hand up and over. Push the hips forward, lift, flower the sternum. Exhale, release. Bring the head back up. Change sides. Left foot forward. Left hand behind the head. Reach back, keeping the hip over the knee, that right knee. Reach back, open up the chest. Chest, sternum lifts to the sky. Head comes back, neck stays long. Right hand up, over behind. Really, that sweep of the hand, bringing it right down into your hip flexor. Exhale, release. Bring both knees together. So that's a nice preparation for camel to get into your hip flexors. This time bring both hands into the hips. Feet a little closer. Engage the glutes to protect the low back. Shoulders come back, chest opens up. Now shoulder blades squeeze. Keeping the neck long, lift the sternum, push the pelvis forward. Now from here you can reach back and grab your heels. My heels are a little low, so I'm going to curl the toes. I'm going to reach back and grab the heels. Now from here, squeeze the shoulder blades. Push the pelvis forward. Sternum blossoms open. Big stretch across the front of the shoulders here. And breathe. To come out, lift the right hand up and over. Come down onto the shins. And doing a circle of joy to release, clasp the hands. Reach out, exhale, rounding the back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, behind, sweep the hands, rounding the back. Push the knuckles down. Open up the chest. Exhale, release. All right, so we've done 2 back bends. Let's try a forward bend. So coming to your feet. I'm going to recommend you have your blocks handy and maybe even a chair. Maybe even a chair, so you could have a chair in front of you. Feel yourself nice and stable. You're going to take, it's going to be a balanced pose as well. So inhale, take the weight into that right leg. Resist the temptation to lock the right knee, but keeping it strong, lift the left knee up. Fold the right foot into that left hip crease, dropping the right knee. Now pressing that right foot against the inguinal there, you can hinge forward in prayer. You can come into a squat here, prayer squat. You'll feel the heel against the belly, and then slowly bring the hands down to your blocks or chair, straightening the standing leg without locking it, coming into folded tree. Now the hands can come down to the ground here. And then to come out, you can come back to your blocks or chair, come back to your one-legged chair pose, and then slowly come up. Exhale, release. Closing the eyes and feeling that standing forward fold, folded tree. And then coming into the other side, taking the weight into that other foot. Lift left foot up. Find the edge of that. So sometimes working on your lotus pose can really help. This is like standing half lotus here, dropping that knee. Now pressing into the hip crease to hold it there. Mine tends to want to slip down here, so I'm going to hold it with my hand, hands in prayer. Start to hinge, bend the standing leg, coming into your squat, your tree pose, your chair pose. And then exhale, hands down to the chair for support or the blocks. Start to straighten the standing leg, head comes down into that forward fold. And I can see here on this side I struggle a little bit to reach the ground, so I'm going to continue to use the blocks gradually over time, letting the blocks come lower and lower. Now to come out, come up onto the blocks of the chair, back to prayer, hips back, Gomukhasana. Slowly come up, exhale, release. Closing the eyes. Exhale, release. And then we'll come forward into a head to knee variation. So coming down onto the floor. I'm going to recommend you grab a blanket here for a couple of reasons, or for either reason. Let me suggest the reason first is to create a seat to sit on the blanket to give the pelvis a slight forward tilt. So I'm on the edge of the blanket creating a forward tilt, so it makes it look like I can do forward folds nice and easily. Without the blanket, without the forward tilt, I would feel a lot more stress in the low back. Have a block handy, have a tie handy. And then bring the right knee over the left knee. And I'm going to start by propping the back of my left knee up with a block. So that's going to take some stress off the back of the knee. All right. Bring the hands to the knee and sit up nice and tall. Curling the toes back of the left foot. Find space between the ribs and the hips. And then exhale, hinge forward. So I can feel that hinge now. And I'm keeping the spine nice and straight. So I'm not dropping the head down here to curve the back. You see that? Now that's particularly important for anybody who has osteopenia, bulging discs, any type of forward fold, contraindications there. But I'm going to keep the hamstring and the calf muscle actively engaged in the stretch, and I'm hinging forward. Now this is a great opportunity where you can transfer your weight, your grip towards the foot more. So you can walk out, grab hold of the leg, or you can have a tie, either way. And I'm just going to hold here. I'm going to be here for a little while, because for me this is challenging. Important to keep the shoulders, elbows, and arms in a relaxed, firm grip. So the shoulders are not hiking up. We've opened up the neck and shoulders intentionally in the beginning of the class so that we don't need these parts of the body. It's all coming from down low. Now I'm going to remove the block now because I can feel that I've got a little more extension here. Work the heart towards the toes and the toes towards the heart, so there's this lengthening forward rather than a rounding. Come back to the breath. If you can't stay connected to the breath because there's too much intensity, just back off a little bit and then come back in over time. Now, because it's head to knee, this is where the rounding of the back can come in. When we round the back, we can actually get a little closer to the toes. But once again, if rounding of the back is not wholesome for your spine, don't do it. So to round, start to drop the forehead down towards the knee, head to knee. Hands come forward. And continue this theme of toes coming back towards the crown of the head and the crown of the head coming towards the toes. In yin yoga, we might call this shoelace pose. And then slowly walk the hands back up. Inhale. Rest for a moment. And so after the back bends, these forward bends are quite a strong counter fold. Lift up that right knee, lift up the left knee, reach your hands behind you and come off whatever you're sitting on so the buttocks comes closer to the heels and you can lean back into straight arms supporting you like the kickstand of a motorbike. Gently bring the chin up and rest the back of the skull against the shoulder cradle. Don't worry about the shoulders up against the back of the head. In fact, that's a good thing. Bring the head to neutral, drop the chin down. Inhale neutral, turn the head left and right, making sure that that left and right is safe for the head. Let's try the other side. So start by bringing the hip, the sit bones onto the edge of your blanket, creating the forward tilt. Gives you that effortless tilt to begin with. This time the opposite knee is going to come over. And you'll probably find one side's different from the other. I also find with the elevated hips, the sit bones up, is there's more evenness from left to right sit bone. I can find that even quality. Now curl the toes back. I'm already finding on this side there's plenty. Let me take a block again to be able to get a little more forward hinge without overdue stress on that knee. Now, if you are particularly hyperextensive here, your goal is to actually be mindful of not hyperextending that knee. This is where a very thinly rolled blanket underneath the knee could just create a little flexion in the knee joint. So we get a little storm brewing through the music here today. It's not an actual storm. It's just I like listening to storms. Now, once again, hands on the knees to use as a reference point. Lift the ribs, create space between the ribs and the hips. Gently hinge forward. And now you've got yourself into the range of motion that's appropriate for your body. I would rather see you curling these toes back and driving the heel out than getting further down and having the feet compensate. I'm going to remove my block to see how that works. It feels okay. That left knee is pressing down on top of that right thigh. So it takes about 30 to 60 seconds. Each time you find your new edge, the brain and the body are actively in dialogue. They're talking to each other. So the sensations that are being sent to my brain now, the brain is waiting to see, to make sure that that area of the body is safe before it sends a message like, oh, you can relax a little more. So that signal, when it's sent through the Golgi tendon organ, is now allowing me to hinge a little further forward. I'm going to hold the tie work on the toes and the heart coming towards each other. So this movement laterally or forward in the forward plane rather than the downward plane. Now, as long as your spine's up for it, you can drop the head down, rounding the spine. And when the head is down, once again, toes towards crown of head, so you don't release that sensation in the back of your leg. For 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, walk the hands back. And once again, slowly coming back. Lean into the hands, hips down. Stretch the legs out this time and tap them out. Oh, how are we doing? All right, so we got one more pose. Like I said, these are the poses that I'm working on constantly to open up my body. And I've offered a couple of back bends today because I feel at this time of the year, given the conditions we've been in over the last few months with the COVID, I'm seeing more and more friends and family in a forward hunched flexion. Right? This is not a good posture to live in as we age. We want to open up the chest. So this one is really going to open up the chest. It's also going to work on the posterior chain of the hips. Many of you know it as cow face pose, Gomukhasana. And I'm going to sit on a block for this one. So I'm going to be quite elevated. And a little similar to the last one, we're going to take that knee extension around so the right foot comes back beside the block, and then the left foot comes back on the other side of the block. So I've got knee over knee as high as I can. So for me, the elevation, again, makes this helpful. The goal is, in the end, you would bring your sit bones right down onto the mat. I find an unevenness in the hips here, so it's nice to use a block or a blanket to give a little bit of elevation. Sit up nice and tall. Now, whichever knee you have on top, you'll take the opposite arm and you're simply going to bring it over the head and reach down for your spine. And the left hand is going to pull that elbow up and over, reach down a little further. Now push the back of the head into the forearm so you keep a space between the chin and the chest. You don't want the chin and the chest coming together. You're not looking down. If your eyes were open right now, they'd be looking across the room. There's that first stretch in the tricep of the right side. And then release. Grab a strap in that right hand. We're going to repeat that. Bring that hand behind. That strap's going to dangle behind. And then bring that elbow as much as you can, pointing to the ceiling. Now the left hand is going to release. So we can do a little sexy arm motion on that left arm, rolling the shoulder forward and back. And then bending it back behind you, straightening it. So you know where we're going with this. This left hand is going to reach back towards the right hand. Now, ideally, the goal is that the left hand and the right hand are going to walk closer and closer together. All right? So I use the strap as a ladder to climb up that ladder. So my left hand is climbing up towards that right hand. Now lift the right shoulder bone. And then drop the left shoulder bone so you create a little more space. Keep the head perpendicular. So this is a great opener of the chest, the shoulders, to counteract all that forward flexion. Soften the face. Now a lot of sensations will build up in this pose if you're not used to it. But hold it for as long as you can tolerate without turning it into pain. Over time, this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful change in your posture from doing this pose. You're going to stand so tall and shoulders back. For 3, 2, and 1. Slowly, gently release. Now you should be able to feel palms face up on the thigh. You should feel a lot of sensation in the shoulders, back of the neck. Gently turn the head to the right and then the left. Right and the left. Just making sure you release that neck. Let's drop the right ear down one side and then the other. So I can feel that in my neck. Whoa, one side and then the other. Drop the chin, lift the chin, drop, and lift. Should we change sides? So however you want to do it, you can lean back and change the cross of the legs. Start by positioning the lower kneed foot as close as you can, and then the upper knee on. I'm just going to push against that upper knee for a moment and twist to the right just to get a nice release. Strap is handy. Shoulders roll back and down. So sitting up nice and tall. Another nice variation here is you could hinge forward and backward. That's a nice variation too that really comes into that low back area. Alright, let's grab the tie. So left hand up this time. Bring it over. Right hand is going to pull that left elbow over. I'm going to extend left ribs out, lean to that right side. Oh, open it up. Reaching down the spine. Strap in that left hand. Left elbow as much as possible, trying to point to the ceiling. And the head lifted up against that forearm so that I'm not dropping the head down, compensating. Release right hand, a little sexy arm motion here. This is definitely my more challenging side. I had a frozen right shoulder at one point, and so this is a good one to, this one finds it hard to come back this way. So the next time that right hand comes back, it finds the strap, and now I'm on my ladder. So the goal here is, in the preparation, is to keep moving that left elbow up and that right shoulder down so that the right hand and the left hand get a little closer together without compensating by dropping the head. Keep the head back, sit up nice and tall, push down through the sit bones, engage a little bit of core here so you're not overarching into the back, and then close the eyes and enjoy surfing the waves of sensation with the breath. Beautiful. For 3, 2, Exhale, release. Slowly release. Unwind the hands, palm, back of the hands resting against the thigh. And once again, just feeling how much that's opened up the chest and your posture. Unwind the legs, come off your block. And then just come down onto your back. Just like we started class. Just noticing where the body has come. Extend the legs out. Palms face up. Just allowing yourself to receive the fruits of your practice. And apart from very rare circumstances where I've felt ill or injured, I've always felt a positive shift by taking the time to do my practice, no matter what it was. Even if the practice stirs things up, it shifts the nervous system, it shifts the circulatory system, it shifts the respiratory system. There's so much that gets changed in your practice. And even in this day of fake news, it would be hard to find anyone who could deny that working out is, in a mindful way, is anything but good for you. Now I'm going to give you the option here to either remain in Shavasana for as long as you like, especially if you have used the practice for more of a nurturing orientation, or if you've used it to energize and transition through the day, you can bend the knees and rock the knees from side to side, coming over to one side and make your way up to a seated position. And in that seated position, bring your hands together in prayer position. Feel the aliveness in your day, in your body, ready for the day. Thank you for joining me once again. It's always a pleasure. I start my outdoor yoga classes soon, so hopefully I'll see you out on the grass under the blue sky. Namaste.